Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. What's going on, everyone? Thrift Barringer here from the Glenwood Coaches Show, live from the clubhouse. You see how beautiful it is. By the way, when you walk in, and not when you walk in, but when you pull into Glenwood, you'll see right outside of Bill Bowers Park, Tim Fanning Field, it's the ABCA. Is that correct? For
Yes.
the national best field in America, high school baseball field in America. Right. We were the winners not once but twice, in 2011, 2022. That's an impressive feat, Coach. The reason I wanted to start there is because I feel like your happiness, your escape from everything to kind of get in your mind is taking care of that baseball field. Is that correct? And why do you love having such a prestigious field?
Well, for sure. I mean, I think it goes back to as far as when you're building a program, I think you strive for excellence in everything that you do. And that's just not, balls and strikes and, hitting the ball, whatever. It's the field,
right.
You know what I mean? And what it allows is it creates a culture of responsibility.
Right.
Yes, I am the one that gets to cut the field because that's my happy place.
Yeah.
Right. But all this stuff, you teach the kids exactly how to do it and show them how to do it and make them do it and things like that, just so they appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I've always said one of the greatest things about Glenwood is it's a sweat equity school. And we don't have people that, that fix our fields, you know what I mean?
Right.
And therefore the kids, they have, list of responsibilities every single day out there in the dugout, and they have to do those things too. So,
right.
But it is, to your point, it is very, we had that moment yesterday after practice. Well, I'll say after practice, after on the field practice before weights, we had a hour long, session of field work.
Yeah.
We edged everything and hula hoed and then it was, a lot of different things. So, and just getting in preparation and getting in that mindset for the playoffs starting on Friday, that it is special, and you do want to put a great product out there for people to come up and because it's a reflection of you and your program and your kids. So, for me, selfishly, now being on the lawnmower is I feel like it's the only place I put my headphones in. I don't answer my phone. I don't do anything, and it's I'm not taking text messages, phone calls, and emails. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun for me.
Baseball's about routine, and when you get in a routine, whether it be cleaning the field at the beginning of the week, you want to maintain that routine and treat it like it's a normal regular season game. Now, before we get into which you're playing on Friday, and this is an announcement for everyone out there. Unfortunately, we will not be able to broadcast it on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. I know I'm going to get 1.5 million messages, Coach. If we could broadcast it, it would be on there. But we are going to broadcast for an FHS. Now, you're going to have to pay a subscription, unfortunately, but hopefully some of that money comes back to the school, Coach.
It does.
And then we will be sitting up there and broadcasting. You're going to have to watch it through there because that's how you have to do playoffs in Alabama. So we'll be broadcasted, just not on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live, but we will have an interview, hopefully with Coach Fanning after the game, and you can get kind of a recap on our social media pages. But I want to go back to last week and senior night. We got to rehash on some of your key seniors, man.
Right.
I'm going to let you talk about them. I don't want to leave anyone out. I'll start with the main ones, and then you can add on to the rest of the list, Coach. We'll start with Mason McCrane and Tyler Sykes and Levi Pender. Those three specifically because they've been the three-headed monster in almost every single sport, it seems like.
Right.
What do those guys mean to you in this program?
They mean a lot. I mean, and not just to the baseball program, like you said, but to the entire school and the athletic department. But from a baseball standpoint, they've, played for a long time in this program and been a big part of it. I mean, they're, three of the guys that, have multiple state championships because they were part of those state championship teams in 22 and 23. And to see them kind of grow up and mature, and now it's their time to be the leaders and to put the team on their back. And, it's an awesome thing to watch. It's also an awesome responsibility. It's a maturation process of becoming a man, to be honest, because it's easier to kind of not be the leader and play good.
Right.
It's harder to be the leader and play good as well.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because that internal pressure that you put on yourself. So I just hope that, they can see past that and know that they're appreciated here. They always have been. We love them to death. They've worked their tails off, and they've done a lot for this baseball program.
No doubt, Coach. And any other seniors that I'm not purposely trying to leave out. Those guys I'm so familiar with just because of all the sports that I've called here this year on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. So shout out all the other ones that have been contributors.
Well, and you got KP Andrews, he's a catcher, and DH. He's had a really good year.
Did he just sign somewhere too, Coach?
He's going to CAC, and then Logan Henderson is a 2-year starter at second base. He's been a huge part of our program the last 2 years. You also have Nick Torres.
New addition too.
That's right. And he's just come in and fit in. He's such an awesome kid. He's very quiet. He's very appreciative of the opportunity he's gotten here. His family's been amazing. And he's also signed to play at Point University.
Awesome.
So, and then you also got Reese Adams. That is a relief pitcher for us. He's battled some injuries his whole career, and finally to see him get out there on the mound with all these really good players, it's really been good. He's grown so much this year as a senior, and he's just been a joy to be around. And when his name has been called, and he's got the job done. So, and that's that's not always easy when you got these kind of giants of the program, and you have to wait your turn and just when guys are going out there throwing complete games, and giving up 2-3 hits a game, it's tough to get on the field sometimes, and but he's done a great job, and I'm super proud of him. So, and then I also want to talk about Carter Ross and CJ Phillips. They're 2 former baseball players that are managers this year.
Awesome.
And I'm telling you, man, these 2 kids that, if I could get a supplement for them, I'd put them on the coaching staff, man. They're just so awesome. I mean, they really are. They have the greatest attitudes. They're funny. They get the coach's brains, and just, we couldn't do it without them.
Coach, when we were there for signing day last week, when you have moments like that and seeing your guys, I'm going back to when I was in high school. You love the rings, you love the championships, but seeing your guys sign, I feel like that brings more joy to your heart than almost anything.
Oh, for sure. Just because, they've put the work in. God's opened the door for them. They're willing to step through it and know that there's going to be a greater challenge ahead. And I just know that process is part of them becoming a man. And it's really cool to see. And because it don't always work out.
No.
And just because you work really hard and do the best you can do doesn't mean you're gonna necessarily go to the next level, right? And so just having them be able to do that, it's always fun. And to have 5 of the 7 seniors that are going to the next level is always really good. I mean, we've been blessed over the years to put a lot of guys in college, and sometimes it's a little stressful too. I think, when you come through a program like ours, people tend to think, well, everyone's going to go to play in college, you know what I mean? And they put that pressure on themselves, and, and I don't like that for them, but you know, that's just part of being in a great program.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad it's worked out for at least 5 of them. We still, Logan still is working on trying to get him somewhere, and Reese, you know, could probably have opportunities too if he wanted to. But I think, you know, he's thinking about going to lineman school, which would be great. You know, and that's what I've always told the guys. I said, look, if that's not one of your aspirations, I don't mean I don't love you or anything like that. You know, I mean, we all go in different directions and things like that. So that doesn't, you know, I would rather someone tell me they don't want to do it and they've got another plan as opposed to pretending they want to do it. You know what I mean? Until the last minute. Right. You know what I mean? So I have no problem with that. We've got a great senior class, and they've done a lot of stuff for this program.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's coming up in the playoffs. Hale County this Friday. And Coach even filled out a bracket for me so I can kind of see who potentially could be some of the other matchups and what the mindset of him and the team are as they head into the playoffs for the first time in the AHSAA. Feels nice saying that, Coach. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with the Glenwood Coaches Show.
Football is back, and the only thing that makes it better is some delicious food from Zaxby's. They're a proud sponsor of Georgia-Alabama Sports Live. And I can tell you that everyone on this team loves their chicken. Get all the favorites, such as their signature chicken sandwich, or try the new chicken finger tacos with your favorite drink. From amazing salads, wings, chicken fingers, and some of the best drinks around, there isn't a better way to enjoy our broadcast without getting some fantastic meals from Zaxby's. Check out the 2 here in Phoenix City, one off Crawford Road and the other on US 80. Thank you again to Zaxby's for sponsoring Georgia-Alabama Sports Live. And make sure you call them for all your catering and tailgating needs this football season.
Welcome back here to the Glenwood Coach Show in the fabulous Glenwood Clubhouse, and it's with Coach Tim Fanning here. Coach, we just talked about it before we went to break. You're in the AHSAA. I guess I want to start there. Have you actually talked to the guys on what this would mean for this program? Winning a state championship in the AHSA 1 is a great feat, but then doing it in year 1, has that really crossed y'all's mind, or has it all been focused and we're just trying to do it like we've done in years past? Doesn't matter the league.
I don't know if it's necessarily been, you know, about a state championship, but but it has been a focus of how coming into this association, we wanted our school and this program to be represented.
Mm-hmm.
And, because of all those years and all those alumni and all those great players and all that other stuff. And for all those years, they never had the opportunity to do that. So we wanted everyone to see what Glenwood baseball is all about and what it's always been about. And the naysayers, all those, you know, that can creep in your mind and you can be playing for the wrong reasons. Right. So if we do us right. then that will speak for itself. And that's what I'm trying to get these kids to understand. And sometimes they have so much noise in their head, they forget that sometimes. And that's really what we've been focused on. It's not really about the X's and O's, so to speak. And it's just about playing the game the right way.
Right.
And if we do that, if we're better than that team and we execute, we'll win.
Right.
If we don't, then we won't.
Right.
And that's you know, and then you got to take your cap off and tip it. They were better than us. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And you know, I've coached in 1,000 games. I haven't won all of them.
No.
Right?
You're not undefeated.
Right. It's correct. So that's you know, so that's kind of been our focus. Right. And we're just coming into this week. I just really want to kind of, you know, get them focused on the little things that win games. And we've had a great year, but this is a new season. And this is I put the 2 different brackets up in the dugout on Monday so they can see the difference in this year's bracket and last year's bracket.
And I want you to kind of explain to the audience, man, because last year there was 3 playoff games, really. Right. And honestly, the first round, you're not playing the top competition. So
Right.
really, you're playing a semifinal, which was competitive and in the
Yes.
state.
Right.
And the AISA is way different than the AHSA. Now, the
Right.
first round is more favorable. We'll talk about Hill
Right.
County in a
Right.
minute, but you got 4 more rounds after that, Coach.
Right.
It's literally a season in itself.
Right.
So talk about that mindset
Well,
that you just alluded to.
That's right. I mean, you can play an additional 15 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That'd be over the half that you've already played.
correct.
Coach.
And that's a grind. And with each round, the intensity will increase. Right. So those pitches start adding up towards the end of the season.
Yep.
So that means you've got to even be more focused on your recovery and getting ready and doing the right things and not losing sight of how you have to prepare to feel the best you can
Right.
at the end of a long season.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's, the difference is I mean, when you look at the bracket now, it looks like March Madness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
32 teams.
Correct. And having only 8 teams.
Yeah, I see.
It's a big deal. And like you said, like you get to the Final Four, of the AISA, and it's been that way for years now. Before all the teams started leaving and things like that, I felt like all 3 rounds were that way.
Yeah.
But the last few years, you get to the Final Four and you're gonna have good competition. But before that, it was, generally speaking, it wasn't. But now, like those 3 rounds are only going to get you like to the semis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which the teams are going to even be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, we're super excited for the opportunity and, to see, what we can do with it.
Hill County.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, they're a game under 500. Obviously, they've had some doozies in there, but
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I feel like if you don't tell your guys, and I know you're going to say the same thing, it's not really boring coach talk, but it is what it is because you don't want your guys to lose focus.
Right.
That if you go in there thinking you're going to dominate a team like this, it doesn't matter how bad they play. They can get hot. Things could happen. What have you been telling your guys, and what can you tell the Glenwood and just the community about Hill County?
Well, I don't know a ton. I know their principal actually played for Coach Traywick.
Oh, did he?
Central.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's who I've been communicating with, Ronnie Garner, which was kind of cool. Coach Nelson knew him, you know what I mean? So was able to get a hold of him really easily and make all the plans and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, they're on the west part of the state. They're a long ways from here. So, we haven't played any 3A schools.
No.
The entire year except for our area. So to be quite honest, I don't know much about it. I know that, they've generally had a playoff caliber team. But there again, with our approach and what we always preach and what I've always done is you play against the game and not the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And if we continue to concentrate on those things, all right, the opponent is less important than the execution of the game of baseball. So obviously it's better when you're playing at home in front of your crowd because things are normal and things like that. But as far as the opponent, I'm just trying, because we have had some lulls throughout the year. I mean, there haven't been many, but we have had that, and it's because of a lack of focus in our opponent.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we're hyper focused at the end of this week, and that's all we're preparing for all this week.
Now, if you look at Max Preps, and I don't know how much you pay attention to that, Coach, but they in Alabama Sports Writers Poll, St. James, Prattville Christian, yourself, y'all usually right there. Lee Scott also top 4 or 5 teams. Here's the thing: they're all on the same side of the bracket.
Right.
St. James is actually in your quadrant, so you could be placing them in the 3rd round. That's a top 3 team.
Right.
The supposedly number 1 team, according to Alabama Sports Writer Prattville, you could be playing in the semifinals or Lee Scott. So before you even get to the state championship, you're playing the top 3 teams. Like in years past, you knew you weren't going to face that number 2 team until the state championship game.
Right.
It doesn't work like that this year. How, does that bother you? Do you like that format, or it is what it is? You just got to go out and take on the challenge that presents itself.
Yeah, I do like it because it is a challenge, and You know, I've always told those kids, no matter what level you're playing or whatever, they don't give those trophies away.
No,
you got to earn them. And I can imagine, I'm always a glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about like saying, oh man, we got to go through this. It's, oh man, we get to go through this to win a state championship.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how cool would that be? And that's something that's going to last these kids a lifetime if they're fortunate enough to keep advancing. And you got a top 10 team in the second round, and a top 5 team in the third round, and a top 5 team in the fourth round, right? You get to the end of that, and you're going to know that you have earned the right to call yourself state champions, you know, and that's pretty cool at the prospect of being able to do that.
A few more questions, Coach, and I want everyone to understand this. So, because they're probably going to ask it again, we're probably going to have to go over it again. But for them to understand that you may not be hosting every round. Right. You are the number 2 team in the state, but they don't go by that. They go by area standings. So as the playoffs progress, you could be playing a number 1 team from another area. Now, you may have a better record. You may be higher in the rankings. They don't care about that.
Right.
Can you kind of explain to everyone on some scenarios where y'all could be on the road?
Yeah, it's pretty complex, to be honest. I'm not used to it. I'm just kind of getting versed on it, in full transparency. But it's pre-bracketed, right? So it doesn't change. And then there are rules, meaning, okay, so all area champions host in the first round.
Right.
Okay, well then in the second round, if you play an area champion that won, then if you're on the top of that bracket portion, then you host. Okay, if you're on the bottom, you go on the road. But also, okay, so if a runner-up upsets someone in the first round,
right,
and that's who we're bracketed with,
right,
then we would say, for instance, we would have to go to Cottage Hill because they traveled and we didn't.
Right.
So, I mean, and then if you win that on the road, then you would host at home. Just say we had to travel and St. James had to travel, but we're an area winner, they're area runner up, so we would host them. There's several different rules, and that's what I'm saying. So it's very very complicated from a travel standpoint,
and
so
it's hard to plan.
It is,
Coach?
Correct. So, and that's the thing about the tournament. It's so big that anything can happen in 5 weeks of baseball.
Yeah. Well, we'll be cheering it on, and we're going to be hoping we'll be at least host. We're hosting this week. Right. That's all that matters. And let's talk about, we talked about Hale County. What time is the games and how much it costs for people to come in on Friday?
All right. It'll be Friday here on Good Friday, 1 o'clock.
And no Eastern. School. That's why we're doing it early.
Yep, that's right. 1 o'clock Eastern, doubleheader. It's $12 on Friday, and we'll take cash or card donations. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. And then if game would be the following day at 1 o'clock, and it would be $10 to get in.
Okay.
Pretty sure. But anyway, it's $12 on Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern time.
It's going to be beautiful. The weather's going to be fantastic.
It could
not be a better day for baseball.
That's right.
Come get you a good cheeseburger. Come hang out. And if you want, come watch here, doubleheader baseball and playoffs, and then head on over to Synovus Park. You can watch the Clingstones, go watch the Columbus Lions. But get it started here, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and you'll be able to watch it on the NFHS. We will give you updates on Georgia Alabama Sports Live Instagram and Facebook page. And hopefully, if Coach and the Gators can sweep and get the 2 wins, the first 2 games, we'll even have an interview with Coach afterwards as we talk about what's up next for those Gators. Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate
it's the Glenwood Coaches Show here on Georgia Alabama Sports.